Captain Jake Morrison stared at the alien ship blocking his path. His salvage vessel, the rusty Phoenix, looked like a toy compared to the massive Valithi cruiser. Red warning lights flashed across his console. Great. Just great, Jake muttered. His mind immediately jumped to three different things. The unpaid debt back on Mars. Whether he left the coffee maker on, and that old Earth song about staying alive. Then he wondered if he could outrun them. Probably not. Maybe yes. No, definitely not. His co-pilot Chen looked nervous. Captain, they're hailing us. Put them through. Jake straightened his jacket, which did not help because it had a stain from breakfast. The screen flickered. A tall, elegant alien appeared. She had pale blue skin that seemed to glow softly. Her eyes were completely silver, no pupils at all. She wore dark armor that looked both beautiful and deadly. Human vessel. I am Enforcer Lyra of the Valithi Collective. Prepare to be scanned. We must ensure you carry no hostile intent toward our space. Jake's mind went wild. He thought about how her voice sounded like music. Then he thought about the illegal salvage in his cargo hold. Then he remembered he forgot to call his sister last week. Then he calculated if he could jump to hyperspace before she fired. Then he thought about tacos. Scan away, Jake said, trying to sound calm. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. Jake felt something strange, like someone walking through his thoughts. It did not hurt, but it felt weird, like having someone read over your shoulder, but the shoulder was his brain. Lyra's expression changed. Her eyes widened. She tilted her head like a confused cat. What is this? She whispered. Jake's mind continued its usual chaos. He thought about the scan, worried about his crew, remembered a terrible movie he watched last month, planned 2 different escape routes he would not use, and wondered what aliens ate for lunch. All at the same time, Lyra stepped closer to her screen. Your mind. It is like standing in a storm. How do you function with such disorder? Disorder. This is just Tuesday for me, Jake said. He thought about how pretty she was, then immediately thought about engine repairs, then thought about whether she heard the pretty comment. She definitely did. Oh no. Lyra's lips curved into a small smile. Yes, I heard that. Jake's face turned red. His mind filled with embarrassment, which mixed with annoyance, which mixed with a thought about needing new boots, which mixed with tactical options for this conversation. I have never encountered a human mind like yours, Lyra said. She seemed fascinated instead of disgusted. Most humans think in patterns. Loud patterns, emotional patterns, but patterns nonetheless. Your thoughts jump like electricity that cannot find ground. Is that bad? Jake asked. He genuinely wanted to know. I do not know yet, Lyra admitted. I need to study this further. I will board your vessel. Wait, what? Jake stood up. You can't just I can, and I will. Lyra's image vanished from the screen. Chen turned to Jake. Captain, did you just get us arrested by being yourself? Apparently, Jake sighed. 10 minutes later, Lyra materialized on their bridge through some kind of teleportation. She was taller in person, nearly 7 feet. Her presence filled the room with a strange, calm energy that clashed with the rusty, Phoenix's chaotic vibe. Jake's crew stared. There were 5 of them total. Chen the pilot, Marcus the engineer, twins Amy and Andrew on weapons and navigation, and Jake. They all looked at their captain like he was insane. So, Jake said, welcome aboard, I guess. Can I offer you anything? We have coffee. It's terrible coffee, but it exists. Lyra walked around the bridge, touching surfaces gently. Jake's mind raced with thoughts about how weird this was. Whether his ship smelled bad to aliens, if he should mention the illegal salvage, and a memory of his dog from childhood. Also, he really wanted that coffee now. Your mind has not stopped for even 1 second, Lyra observed. Do all humans experience this? I don't know. I can't read minds, Jake said. Is it annoying? I bet it's annoying. No, Lyra said softly. It is beautiful. Like watching chaos create art. Marcus whispered to Chen, is the telepathic alien flirting with our captain. I can hear you, Lyra, said without turning around. And no, I am observing a phenomenon, Jake thought. She totally is flirting. Then immediately, no, that's stupid. Then, but maybe? Then, focus on not dying. Lyra smiled again. Your thoughts betray you constantly. Yeah, I noticed that, Jake said dryly. Over the next few hours, Lyra insisted on staying as they continued their salvage mission. She explained that the Valithi were telepaths who had achieved peace across their worlds through shared consciousness. They scanned all newcomers to ensure safety. But you, she said to Jake during dinner, you are impossible to read clearly. I can hear everything, but understanding your intent is like catching smoke. And Jake ate his terrible, reconstituted pasta. He thought about the mission, the risk of Lyra discovering their illegal cargo. Whether the pasta always tasted this bad, if Amy had a crush on Marcus, and 7 different plans for tomorrow. His mind never settled. Doesn't that bother you? Jake asked. Not knowing what I'll do? On the contrary, Lyra said. For the first time in centuries, I am surprised. Valithia minds are clear streams. Yours is a raging river. I find it ... refreshing. That night, while Jake tried to sleep, Lyra's voice entered his mind directly. You are still awake. Jake jumped. That's creepy. Don't do that. My apologies. She did not sound sorry. I wanted to say that your crew trusts you deeply. I can feel it in their thoughts. Despite your chaotic mind, you keep them safe. Jake relaxed a bit. They're good people. Best crew I ever had. Think about protecting them constantly. Even when you think about songs or food or escape plans, underneath it all, you calculate their safety. Yeah, that's my job, Lyra corrected gently. That is who you are. Your chaos has a center after all, Jake smiled in the darkness. Maybe having a telepath around would not be so bad. Then he thought about breakfast. Then about the mission tomorrow. Then about Lyra's silver eyes. Then about engine maintenance. Lyra's mental laugh echoed in his head. Good night, chaotic human. Mind-reading alien, as Jake drifted to sleep. His last thought was simple. This is going to be interesting. Lyra, still connected to his mind, silently agreed. Part 2. Chaos's strategy. The Krell pirate station looked like a mechanical nightmare. Twisted metal and stolen ship parts formed a massive structure floating in dead space. Jake's crew approached carefully, while Lyra observed everything with her calm, analytical presence. These pirates are dangerous, Chen warned from the pilot's seat. They've destroyed better ships than ours, Jake nodded. His mind filled with worry for his crew, a memory of the last negotiation that went wrong. Wonder about what Krell ate, and 3 separate backup plans. Then he thought about how he really should have prepared a speech. Too late now. The Krell also employ telepaths, Lyra mentioned. They will try to read your intentions during the negotiation. Will they see the same chaos you do? Jake asked. Worse. They are not used to human minds at all. Lyra seemed thoughtful. Perhaps, may I maintain our connection during the meeting? You mean stay in my head? Yes, I have a theory. Jake shrugged. Sure, it's crowded in here, but there's room. Amy snorted from the weapons console. Captain's letting her into his brain. This relationship is moving fast. Shut up, Amy, Jake said, but he grinned. His mind immediately thought, she's not wrong, though. Then, stop that. Then, focus on not dying. Again. Lyra's mental presence felt warm. I promise to be a polite guest. The Krell station allowed them to dock. Jake, Lyra, and Marcus walked through dark corridors lit by red emergency lights. Everything smelled like oil and something else Jake did not want to identify. They entered a large chamber. The Krell leader sat on a throne made from what looked like old spaceship parts. He was massive, easily 8 feet tall, with rough gray skin and 4 arms. His name was Gracker, and he looked mean. Beside him stood another Krell, smaller, with strange markings on his head. The telepath. Human Gracker's voice sounded like grinding metal. You want passage through our territory? Why should I not just take your ship? Jake's mind exploded with activity. He thought about the offer he prepared. Whether Gracker's armor was compensating for something, the price of fuel back home. If Marcus had his weapon ready, that old song about money, and his actual plan to trade information for passage, the Krell telepath's eyes glowed. He reached toward Jake's mind. Then something interesting happened. The telepath stumbled backward, clutching his head. He made a sound like choking. Gracker turned to him. What is wrong? His mind? Too many thoughts. Cannot follow, the telepath gasped. Jake kept talking, apparently unaffected. I'm offering information about the Velithi patrol routes in Sector 7. Valuable stuff. Worth safe passage, I think? But in his mind, is the telepath okay? That seems rude to say. Also, did I remember to lock the ship? Probably, maybe. What was I saying? Oh, right, patrol routes. But actually, I'll give him old routes, not current ones. That seems fair. Is it hot in here? Gracker's armor is really shiny. Focus, Jake. Lyra's presence in his mind felt like laughter. Keep going. The Krell telepath is getting mental whiplash. Jake continued negotiating. Every time he spoke, his mind filled with 10 different thoughts. The Krell telepath tried to follow, looking for deception, but Jake's chaos made it impossible. It was like trying to catch one specific raindrop during a storm. The patrol routes change every week, Jake said truthfully. He was thinking about that fact, his sister's birthday. Whether Lyra found this funny, the structural weakness in Gracker's throne, and if coffee would help him focus, probably not. Gracker watched his telepath struggle. You block his mind reading. Not blocking, Jake said honestly. I just think a lot. All the time. You can't really help it. This was true. But while Jake's surface thoughts scattered everywhere, deeper down, he maintained clear goals. Get passage. Don't get killed. Protect his crew. Keep the real valuable information hidden. Lyra felt this layered thinking and marveled at it. Most telepaths could easily read surface versus deep thoughts. But Jake's surface was so chaotic that it buried everything else. Not through skill or training, just by being himself. The negotiation continued. Gracker seemed amused by his telepath's frustration. Your mind is a weapon, human. I respect that. We have a deal. Jake's mind celebrated with 3 different happy thoughts, worried that it was too easy, and a random thought about tacos. Excellent. When can we proceed? Now, but first a drink to seal our agreement. Gracker gestured to a servant who brought cups filled with something that glowed purple. Jake's thoughts spiraled. Is it poisoned? Probably not bad business. But maybe? Should I drink it? Would be rude not to. Can humans drink this? Only one way to find out. What if I die? That would be embarrassing. Lyra's mental voice was gentle. It is safe. I can sense no deception. Jake drank. It tasted like burning metal. He managed not to make a face. Barely after they left the station safely, Marcus let out a huge breath. Captain, that was insane. The telepath looked like he was going to pass out. Yeah. What happened there? Jake asked Lyra. She explained as they walked back to the ship. When I maintained our connection, your chaotic thoughts became amplified. The Krell telepath tried to read you, but encountered both your natural chaos and my presence organizing some of it. The combination created a pattern he could not process. So my messy brain plus your organized brain equals telepathic confusion? Precisely. Jake thought about this. Then thought about ship repairs. Then thought about how smart Lyra was. Then wondered if the purple drink would give him indigestion. Then thought about the mission. Lyra's mental laugh filled his mind. Your thoughts during the negotiation were entertaining. Gracker's shiny armor. It was really shiny. Jake defended himself. Back on the Rusty Phoenix, the crew celebrated their successful negotiation. They had safe passage through Krell's space, which would save weeks of travel time. Chen raised his cup. To the captain's chaotic brain. Everyone laughed. Jake felt embarrassed and proud at the same time. His mind filled with affection for his crew, hope for their next mission, and a random memory of his childhood dog. The usual chaos. Lyra sat quietly in the corner, observing. She had spent weeks with these humans now. The Velithi valued order, clarity, precision in thought. But watching Jake's crew, she saw something her people had lost: spontaneity, unpredictability, joy in chaos. Lyra. Jake sat down next to her. Thank you for the help back there. You would have managed without me. Maybe. But it was easier with you. Jake thought about how her presence in his mind felt comfortable now, like having a friend who understood him completely. Then he thought about engine maintenance. Then about whether they had enough food. Standard Jake chaos.
Your mind is like music, Lyra said suddenly.
At first, I thought it was noise, but there is rhythm in your chaos. Patterns that appear and disappear. It is beautiful in its own way. Jake did not know what to say to that. So his mind said 17 different things, and he settled on, thanks. I think Lyra smiled. The Valithi mind is like a clear stream, peaceful, predictable, safe. Your mind is like a storm, dangerous, unpredictable, alive. Which do you prefer? Lyra considered this. For a telepath who had spent centuries in organized thoughts, the answer surprised her. I think I prefer the storm. Jake grinned. His mind filled with happiness, then immediately jumped to wondering if they had coffee left, then back to happiness. Then to navigation calculations for tomorrow. Lyra listened to it all, and for the first time in her long life, she understood what humans meant by the phrase comfortable chaos. As the rusty phoenix jumped to hyperspace, heading toward their next adventure, Jake's mind never stopped its beautiful disorder. And Lyra would not have changed a single thought. Part 3. The mind nobody wants to read. Jake's reputation spread across the sector faster than a virus. Within 3 weeks, everyone knew about the human whose mind could not be read. Pirates wanted to hire him. Criminals offered money for his technique. Military commanders asked if he could teach their soldiers. Jake found the whole thing hilarious. There's no technique, he told Chen for the 5th time that day. I just think about stuff. Lots of stuff. All the time. Chen showed him another message on the console. This one's offering 10,000 credits just for an interview about your mental shielding methods. Jake's mind immediately calculated what they could buy with 10,000 credits. New engines. Better food. That coffee machine he wanted. Maybe a vacation. Did spaceships take vacations? Then he remembered he did not actually have mental shielding. Just a noisy brain. Tell him no. Jake sighed. Lyra observed from her usual corner. Over the past month, she had become a permanent part of the crew. The Valithi Council kept extending her research assignment. She suspected they just did not want her back yet. She did not mind. You could charge them for consultations, Amy suggested, even if you just tell them to think about random stuff. That feels like fraud, Jake said. His mind filled with guilt about taking money for nothing, then a thought about lunch. Then wonder if it was actually fraud if he was honest about it. Then a memory of Earth rain, the usual chaos. Lyra spoke quietly. It is not fraud. Your mind genuinely cannot be read clearly by most telepaths. You are simply unaware that this is unusual. Most humans aren't like me, Jake asked. Most humans have loud emotional thoughts, but they still think in relatively linear patterns. You think in spiral patterns that fold back on themselves while simultaneously moving forward? It is quite rare. Marcus walked onto the bridge. Captain, we have a problem. There's a ship following us. Expensive ship. Military grade. Jake's tactical mind activated. He thought about weapons, escape routes, shield strength, and that time he got food poisoning. Then about the best angle to run, if they had enough fuel, and whether the following ship was hostile. Hail them, Jake ordered. The screen showed a well-dressed alien. He looked like a Zentari, a species known for crime organizations. He wore expensive clothes and had gold implants on his face. Captain Morrison, I am Vexus. I wish to hire you. Not interested, Jake said immediately. His mind thought, definitely a criminal, probably dangerous. Amy ready on weapons? Wonder what he wants. Should have had breakfast. Not trusting this guy. I'll pay you 100,000 credits. The entire crew turned to stare at Jake. 100,000 credits was more than they made in a year. Jake's mind exploded. He thought about the money, what it could buy, the danger this represented, his crew's safety. Whether this was legal, if Vexus would kill them anyway, and a random song about money, then back to danger. What's the job? Jake asked carefully. I want you to teach my operatives your mental shielding technique. Several of them work in places with telepaths. They need to hide their thoughts. There's no technique. I just think this way naturally. Vexus smiled coldly. I do not believe you. No one's mind is naturally unreadable. You will come to my station and teach my people, or I will take you by force. Jake's mind raced through options. Fight, they would lose. Run might work. Negotiate, probably pointless. Surrender, terrible idea. Lyra's safety priority. Crew safety priority. How did he get into this mess? Oh, right, his brain. Lyra stood up. Vexus, I am Enforcer Lyra of the Velethi Collective. Threatening this human is unwise. Ah, the telepath who studies him. Perfect. You will come too. Vexus's ship fired a tractor beam. The rusty Phoenix shook violently. They were caught, Captain. Chen struggled with the controls. Jake made a decision. Don't fight it. Everyone, stay calm. We'll figure this out. An hour later, Jake and Lyra stood in Vexus's station. It was luxurious and threatening at the same time. Guards everywhere, expensive decorations that probably came from robbery, and an atmosphere of controlled violence. Vexus sat in an office that looked like it cost more than Jake's ship. Now, Captain Morrison, teach. I told you, there's nothing to teach. My brain just works like this. Demonstrate then. My telepath will scan you. Show us how you block him. A telepath entered the room. He looked confident, professional. He reached toward Jake's mind. Jake did not resist. He never did. He just thought normally, his mind filled with, this is bad, need escape plan. Where are the exits? Lyra, okay. What's for dinner? 3 different fighting scenarios, memory of his sister, calculations about the guards, and worry about his crew. The telepath's confident expression crumbled. He tried to focus, to find a clear thought, to predict what Jake would do. But every second brought 10 new thoughts, each jumping to different topics. After 2 minutes, the telepath stepped back, sweating. I cannot read his intentions. There are too many thoughts. No pattern. Vexus's eyes narrowed. You are resisting. I'm literally not doing anything, Jake protested. His mind filled with frustration, fear for Lyra, anger at this situation, a thought about how uncomfortable the chair was. Then teach my people to think like you. I don't know how. This is just how my brain works. Vexus stood up, dangerous now. I do not believe you. Perhaps motivation will help. Guards, take the Velethia to a cell. No. Jake's mind focused instantly. Lyra felt it happen. 1 second, Jake's thoughts were scattered chaos. The next second, they crystallized into pure, cold focus. Every random thought channeled into a single purpose, protect Lyra. It terrified her and thrilled her. She had never felt such concentrated intention from him. Jake's voice went quiet, which was more frightening than yelling. Let her go? Or what? Vexus mocked. Jake's mind calculated. He thought about the guard positions, their weapons, structural weaknesses in the room, timing and probability of success. But he thought about all of it at once, in his chaotic way, making it impossible for the telepath to predict his exact move. Then, Jake acted. He grabbed the expensive vase on Vexus's desk and threw it at the window. The window cracked. Alarms blared. Guards rushed toward the window. In the confusion, Jake grabbed Lyra's hand and ran toward the door. His mind never stopped its chaos. He thought about running, the guards behind them. The map of the station, he memorized. Lyra's hand and his 3 different escape routes, and whether the alarms would alert his crew. They ran through corridors. Guards shouted. Lyra kept pace, her longer legs helping. Your mind is so focused, yet still chaotic. Multitasking. Jake gasped as they ran. His mind showed her, I can be scared and tactical at the same time. Useful skill. They reached a maintenance shaft. Jake pulled them inside. Chen, if you can hear this, come. We need an emergency pickup at docking port 7. Chen's voice crackled back. Captain, we're already on it. Andrew hacked their security. Jake grinned. His crew was amazing. His mind filled with pride, relief, continued planning, and that persistent thought about dinner. They climbed through the shaft, reached the docking port, and saw the rusty Phoenix waiting with engines hot as they ran up the ramp. Vexus's voice echoed through the station speakers. You cannot escape, Morrison. Watch me. Jake shouted back. The rusty Phoenix launched immediately. Amy fired at pursuing ships while Marcus pushed the engines beyond safe limits. They jumped to hyperspace, just as Vexus's forces surrounded them, in the safe darkness of hyperspace. Jake collapsed into his chair. His mind slowly returned to normal chaos. He thought about the close call, his brave crew, Lyra's safety, whether they had food, and how much he hated being famous. Lyra sat next to him, her silver eyes thoughtful. When Vexus threatened me, your mind changed. I have never felt such focused intensity from you. Yeah, well, Jake felt embarrassed. Couldn't let him hurt you. Yes. You can control your chaos when needed. You simply choose not to most of the time. Organized thinking is boring, Jake admitted. Chaos is more fun. But when it matters, he shrugged. Lyra understood. Jake's chaos was not a weakness or lack of control. It was his natural state, comfortable and effective. But underneath the storm was a core of steel that emerged when his people needed protection. We are going to be hunted now, Marcus pointed out. Vexus won't forget this. Let him try, Jake said. His mind filled with defiance, plans for staying safe, and confidence in his crew. Then he thought about coffee. Then about upgrading their weapons. Then about that movie he wanted to watch. Chen laughed. Captain's already moved on mentally. Always do, Jake grinned. Lyra watched him, this chaotic human who had somehow become important to her. His mind was a beautiful disaster. She would not change a single thought. As the rusty Phoenix traveled through hyperspace toward their next adventure, Jake's reputation grew even larger, the human whose mind nobody wants to read, because inside that chaos lived something far more dangerous than secrets. It lived pure, protective determination wrapped in the most confusing thoughts in the galaxy. Part 4. When clarity meets chaos. Valithi Council's message arrived 3 days after their escape from Vexus. Lyra read it in her quarters, her expression unreadable. Jake found her staring at the holographic message. His mind immediately worried. Bad news? They are recalling me, Lyra said quietly. The council has decided my research assignment is complete. I am to return home immediately. Jake's mind filled with disappointment, protest, acceptance, more protest, and a random thought about whether Valithi had homes like Earth homes, then back to disappointment. When do you leave? They expect me within the week. Oh, Jake sat down. His mind could not settle on one emotion. He felt sad about her leaving, understanding that she had her own life, selfish desire for her to stay, and worry about facing telepaths alone, plus a thought about fixing the engine. His mind never stopped, even during important moments. Lyra turned to him. I have filed a report stating that I believe humanity's thinking patterns are strategically valuable, that the galaxy would benefit from closer relations with your species. What did they say? They dismissed it. The council believes your chaotic minds are an anomaly, interesting, but not important.
Iris.
Frustration was clear. They do not understand. The Valithi achieved peace through telepathic unity, through organized collective thought. But we have also become stagnant. We think the same dream, the same plan, the same. We have not had a truly new idea in centuries. Jake thought about this, then thought about lunch, then back to thinking about it. You think chaos is good? I think chaos and order need each other, Lyra said. Like music needs both rhythm and variation. Before Jake could respond, alarms blared. Chen's voice came through the comm. Captain, we've got strange readings ahead. Some kind of massive structure near the collapsed star system. Jake and Lyra rushed to the bridge. The view screen showed something impossible, a geometric structure floating in space. Perfectly symmetrical, covered in symbols that hurt to look at. What is that? Amy whispered. Marcus ran scans. It's old. Really old. Pre-Veilthy, pre-Krell, pre-everything. The energy readings are off the charts. Jake's mind filled with curiosity, caution, excitement about discovery, worry about danger, and a thought about whether they should turn back. Can we get closer? I don't recommend it, Captain, Chen said. But when has that stopped you? They approached carefully. The structure seemed to watch them. That should have been impossible for a building, but everyone felt it suddenly. Lights activated across the structure. A beam shot out and scanned their ship. Then a voice filled their minds. Not speaking, just appearing directly in their thoughts. Telepathic species detected. Initiating defense protocol. Lyra gasped. It is an AI. Ancient military AI designed to fight telepaths. Why would anyone build that? Marcus asked. The AI answered, its voice like ice in their minds. Telepaths enslaved my creators. I was built to free them. All telepaths must be eliminated. The structure's weapons activated. Energy built up, aimed at their ship. Jake's mind went into overdrive. He thought about shields, evasive maneuvers, protecting the crew, whether the AI could be reasoned with, and if they had enough power. All at once, the AI seemed confused. Scanning. Detection error, species unknown. Thought patterns incompatible with database. It cannot read you, Lyra realized. Your chaos confuses it. The weapons fired, but not at the Rusty Phoenix. They fired at a point in space where the ship would have been if Jake had followed logical, evasive patterns. But Jake's chaos made him dodge randomly, thinking about 3 different directions at once and choosing the 4th option. It is predicting based on logic, Lyra said urgently. But you do not think logically. Jake grinned, despite the danger. Finally, my messy brain is useful. But then, the AI focused on Lyra. Balethi telepath confirmed. Beginning elimination. Energy beams shot toward the ship. Not trying to predict, just overwhelming firepower, Lyra screamed. The AI invaded her mind, flooding it with logical loops designed to trap telepaths. Her organized Velethi thoughts became a prison. The AI showed her every possibility, every outcome, every logical conclusion, until she could not choose any action. Paralysis through infinite options. Lyra. Jake grabbed her shoulders. Her silver eyes were wide. UNSEE. In. Inside Lyra's mind, the AI's voice was everywhere. You cannot escape logic. Telepaths think in patterns. I know all patterns. You are trapped in perfect understanding. Jake made a decision. He had never done this before, ever tried to fully open his chaotic mind to Lyra. Usually she just observed. But now, he tore down every barrier and pulled her consciousness into his mental storm. Lyra fell into Jake's mind like diving into an ocean. Chaos surrounded her. Thoughts about the AI mixed with thoughts about his childhood. Mixed with tactical planning, mixed with worry for her. Mixed with a memory of coffee, mixed with 17 different ideas happening simultaneously. The AI followed her into Jake's mind and immediately lost its grip. Error. Thought patterns incoherent. Cannot establish prediction matrix. Inside Jake's chaotic mind, Lyra found freedom. The AI's logical loops could not hold her, because there was no logic to anchor them. Jake's thoughts jumped, scattered, reformed, and jumped again. But something amazing happened. Lyra's clarity began to work with Jake's chaos. Her organized mind gave structure to his scattered thoughts. His chaotic mind broke through the rigid patterns trapping her. Together, they created something new. Hybrid thinking, Lyra could suddenly see. The AI's patterns through Jake's chaotic perspective. Jake could suddenly organize his chaos through Lyra's clarity. They moved together, two minds becoming one hybrid consciousness. The AI screamed in their shared mind. Impossible. Incompatible thought patterns cannot merge. Watch us, Jake and Lyra said together. Their voices merged. They attacked the AI's logic from inside. Lyra found the patterns. Jake broke them with chaos. She provided targets. He provided unpredictability. Her clarity was the sword. His chaos was the shield. The AI tried to adapt, but it could not. It was designed to fight organized telepathic minds or chaotic non-telepathic minds. Not both at once. Not hybrid thinking that was simultaneously ordered and disordered. In the physical world, Marcus shouted, the structures powering down. Inside the shared mind space, Jake and Lyra pushed harder. They found the AI's core programming ancient code designed to protect non-telepaths from telepathic slavery. We are not your enemy, Lyra spoke to the AI. And telepaths are not all enslavers. Times have changed. The AI processed this. My purpose is to protect. Then sleep, Jake said. Your war is over. The telepaths who hurt your creators are gone. You can rest now. For a moment, the ancient AI hesitated. Then slowly it began to shut down. Perhaps. You are right, Hybrid thought. Interesting. This changes. Parameters. The AI's presence faded from their minds. Jake and Lyra separated, gasping. They were back in their own heads, but something had changed. They could still feel echoes of each other's thoughts. What did we just do? Jake's mind was racing. He thought about the connection, the danger, the success, and whether everyone was okay. Standard chaos, but with a new undertone of clarity. We created something new, Lyra said in wonder. Hybrid consciousness. Chaos and order working together. The crew stared at them. Captain Chen said carefully, you and Lyra were both glowing, and speaking in sync. It was really weird, Amy nodded. Also cool, but mostly weird. Marcus's scans showed the ancient structure was now dormant, no longer a threat. Whatever you did, it worked. Jake and Lyra looked at each other. In that moment, they both understood the same thing. They were stronger together than apart. Chaos needed clarity. Clarity needed chaos. I am not returning to the Valithi Council, Lyra said firmly. Not yet. This discovery is too important. They're going to be mad, Jake pointed out. His mind thought about political consequences, Lyra's career, and whether they had snacks. Then, back to consequences. Do not care. For the first time in my life, I experienced true innovation. The Valithi need to understand this. The galaxy needs to understand this. Jake grinned. So you're staying? I am staying, the crew cheered. Even stoic Marcus smiled as the rusty phoenix turned away from the ancient structure. Jake's mind filled with happiness, relief, excitement for the future, and a random thought about whether they needed fuel. Lyra listened to his beautiful chaos and added her own clear thought. Together, they would show the galaxy what hybrid thinking could achieve. Chaos and clarity. Storm and stream. Human and Vilite. High, the perfect, impossible combination. Part 5. The beautiful disorder, the Valithi. Council chamber was the most organized place Jake had ever seen. Everything was perfectly symmetrical. The air smelled like nothing. Even the light seemed balanced. It made his chaotic mind itch. Jake stood beside Lyra in front of 7 Valithia council members. They sat in a perfect semicircle, their silver eyes all focused on him. Behind them, a massive window showed the Valithi, homeworld beautiful, peaceful, and somehow boring. This is a terrible idea, Jake's mind whispered to himself. He thought about running, staying calm, whether the council could read his thoughts, and if Valithi had good food. Then back to running. Lyra's mental voice touched his mind gently. Breathe. I am here. Council leader Zaroff spoke first. His voice was calm, measured, perfect. Enforcer Lyra, you were ordered to return alone. Yet you bring this human and his crew to our sacred world. Because, honored council, I've made a discovery that will change how we understand consciousness itself. Lyra stood tall, confident, Jake's mind filled with pride in her, nervousness about this meeting, and a thought about how tall the ceiling was. Focus, Jake. You claim that human chaotic thinking has value, another council member said. Her name was Mirith. We have reviewed your reports. We remain unconvinced. Chaos is the opposite of progress. Then allow me to demonstrate, Lyra said. With your permission, I would like Captain Morrison to coordinate his crew in solving a complex problem. You may observe through telepathic link. The council members looked at each other. They did not speak aloud. Jake assumed they were communicating telepathically. It took them exactly 30 seconds to decide. Even their decision-making was organized. Very well, Zeroff said. We have prepared a simulation. A spatial navigation problem that typically requires Velithi consensus to solve. It takes our trained navigators approximately 4 hours. Let us see what human chaos can accomplish. The room transformed. Holographic space appeared around them, showing a complex asteroid field with gravitational anomalies, radiation zones, and unstable wormholes. A path needed to be found from point A to point B, without hitting anything or getting torn apart. Jake's crew stood ready. Chen, Marcus, Amy, and Andrew. They all looked nervous in front of the Velithi Council. Ready, Captain? Chen asked. Jake's mind exploded into tactical mode. He saw 17 different paths simultaneously. He thought about gravitational pull, ship durability, crew safety, radiation shielding. Not whether they brought snacks for this. All at once, all right, team, Jake said. Chen, I need you to watch the gravitational patterns. Marcus, calculate how much radiation our shields can take. Amy and Andrew plot escape routes in case we're wrong. Everyone talk at the same time. I'll sort it out. The council members watched in fascination and horror as Jake's crew started solving the problem. Chen called out gravitational data, while simultaneously asking Marcus about shield strength. Marcus responded while also suggesting a path through the radiation zone. Amy interrupted with a better idea, while Andrew pointed out a risk everyone missed. They talked over each other. They changed their minds mid-sentence. They jumped between topics. Pure chaos. But Jake's mind tracked everything. He thought about Chen's gravity data while processing, Marcus's shield calculations while considering, Amy's path while evaluating Andrew's concern while also thinking about his sister's birthday and whether the Velithi found this annoying. Lyra stood with the council, maintaining a telepathic link so they could observe Jake's mind. The council members felt vertigo. Jake's thoughts were like standing in a tornado. How did he function? But then they noticed something. Underneath the chaos was structure. Not organized. Structure, organic structure. Like a jazz band improvising together. Everyone played different notes, but somehow it created music. Jake suddenly grinned. I've got it. Chen, hard starboard at the second asteroid. Marcus, divert all power to forward shields for exactly 8 seconds. Amy, fire thrusters at this exact moment. He sent her the timing telepathically through Lyra. Andrew, be ready to reverse if I'm wrong. You're making this up as you go. Andrew protested. Always do. Jake laughed. They executed his plan. The holographic ship navigated through the impossible maze. It was not smooth. They had to adjust 3 times mid-flight, but they made it through. Time elapsed, 43 minutes. The council chamber fell silent. Zaref spoke slowly. You solved in 43 minutes what takes our best teams for hours? Yeah, but our way was messier, Jake pointed out. His mind filled with satisfaction, embarrassment at showing off, and a thought about lunch. Mirith looked stunned. Your crew's minds. They were thinking different things simultaneously. How did you coordinate that? I just listened to everyone at once. Jake shrugged. My brain's good at tracking multiple things. Lyra stepped forward. Honored Council, this is what I have been trying to explain. The Velithi minds work through consensus organized, careful, precise, Human minds work through controlled chaos, improvised, adaptive, creative. Both have value. Together, they have even more. But how? Another council member asked. Chaos should create conflict, not solutions. Because chaos is not random, Lyra explained. Human chaos has patterns, just not the patterns we are used to. Watch. She opened her mind fully to the council, showing them what she experienced with Jake, the hybrid thinking they had discovered. How chaos could break rigid patterns, while clarity could guide the chaos toward goals. Jake felt vulnerable having the entire council in his thoughts. He was thinking about the demonstration, whether he impressed them, if Lyra was okay, and a random memory of Earth Rain. Standard chaos. But the council members finally understood. Jake's chaos was not lack of control. It was a different kind of control. Multi-threaded thinking. Parallel processing of emotional, tactical, and creative thoughts simultaneously. Zaroff stood. This is ... unprecedented. We have spent millennia perfecting organized thought. We never considered that disorder could be equally valid. Not equally valid, Lyra corrected gently. Complementary. Chaos and order need each other. My people have achieved incredible peace through telepathic unity. But we have also stopped growing. We think the same thoughts, reach the same conclusions. Humanity, with their chaotic minds, still innovates, still surprises, still creates new possibilities. Mirith looked at Jake with new respect. Your mind gave our ancient AI system design specifically to fight telepaths' complete confusion. Yeah, sorry about almost dying because of my brain, Jake said. His mind immediately thought, that sounded stupid. Why did I say that? Focus, Jake. Also, is this going well? The council members shared another silent telepathic conversation. This one took longer 3 whole minutes. Finally, Zaroff spoke. We propose an exchange. Valithi telepaths will work alongside human crews. We will learn from each other's thinking styles. Perhaps together, we can create something neither species could achieve alone. Jake's mind filled with excitement. Worry about the responsibility, hope for the future, and a thought about how this would change everything. Then a thought about coffee. Lyra smiled. She had one. Over the next months, the exchange program began. Valithi telepaths joined human ships. They learned to appreciate chaos. They learned that not all thoughts needed to be organized to be valuable. Humans learned from Valithia clarity. They learned to channel their chaos more effectively when needed. But Jake and Lyra remained the original hybrid pair. The first to prove that chaos and clarity could create beautiful harmony. One evening, on the rusty Phoenix, Jake sat in the observation deck. His mind wandered through thoughts about their next mission, his crew's happiness, and whether the stars looked different from here. Lyra sat beside him. What are you thinking about? Everything, nothing. The usual chaos. Jake smiled. What about you? I am thinking about how grateful I am that your mind is impossible to read clearly. If it were organized, I would never have stayed to study you. I would never have discovered hybrid thinking. I would never have found ... double quotes. She paused. Found what? Jake asked. His mind already knew but wanted to hear her say it. Friend. A partner. Someone whose chaos complements my clarity perfectly. Jake thought about how much Lyra meant to him. Then thought about ship repairs. Then back to Lyra. Then about dinner. His mind never stayed still. Lyra laughed softly, hearing all of it. Your thoughts even now jump between sentiment and ship maintenance. It's who I am, Jake said. Beautiful disorder, remember? Beautiful disorder indeed. The rusty Phoenix floated through space, carrying its hybrid crew toward new adventures. Behind them, Valithi and human ships began working together. Learning from each other, creating a future neither species could have imagined alone. In the observation deck, Jake's mind continued its endless chaos. Thoughts about navigation, mixed with hope for tomorrow, mixed with appreciation for his crew, mixed with wonder about the universe, and Lyra listened to every scattered thought, finding music in the madness, finding meaning in the chaos, because sometimes The best harmony comes not from everyone thinking the same way, but from different minds learning to create beauty. Together, Jake's chaos and Lyra's clarity. Storm and stream. Human and Vilt. Hi, the perfect impossible partnership that changed the galaxy as Jake's mind drifted towards sleep. His last coherent thought was simple. Life is better with beautiful disorder. Lyra, still connected to his thoughts, silently agreed, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space, other chaotic humans and organized Velethi were just beginning to discover what they could accomplish together. The future was unpredictable, messy, and absolutely full of possibility, just the way Jake liked it. The end.